Gary here. Welcome to BookMob episode 68. Today I'm going to go on, should you stop reading a book you're not enjoying? How to stop a book without feeling guilty, reader's guilt. You all know that if you're good readers, you all understand that sometimes you read a book, pick up a book, buy a book, get a book as a gift, and you start reading it, and for some reason it just doesn't dwell with you. Life's too short, okay? So if you think about it, there are just billions of stories out there in the world and billions of books. And if you're reading something and you just don't like it, what can you do? I guess logically you can say, just move on, put it down and move on. However, we have an emotional attachment to books. We have an emotional attachment to stories. And sometimes we feel obligated. And I'm talking about readers, obviously non-readers or hesitant readers probably don't have this conflict, this intellectual conflict going on in their lives. However, I just would like to add that picking up a book is making a decision. It's a financial decision. It's a time decision. It's a discipline decision. And if you're not going to enjoy reading a book, you can give it a few minutes, you can give it a few pages, a few chapters, but there comes a time when you've got to say to yourself, nah, this is not for me. So really, there's no actual intellectual rule of law that you have to finish a book that you're not getting into. If it's not enjoyable, it's really okay just to put the book down. However, there are some circumstances where you have to force yourself to finish a book. If you're at school or university, or if you are a very, very disciplined reader and you say to yourself, I bought this book, I've got this book, I'm going to see it through to the end because somehow the book might turn out, that's the thing, the book might turn out to be brilliant. It might turn out to something that grabs you. The other thing you can say to yourself before you give up on a book, you say, maybe I'll read it another time. I've had books that I picked up 20 years ago and didn't read and then picked them up, 20 years later and absolutely loved. And I realized when I put the book down originally, I just wasn't in the intellectual mood to enjoy that particular read. So it's very, very easy for me to put down a book, even though I do have book guilt. For instance, I've been trying to get through Dan Simmons' Olympos. I read the first volume of this series called Ilium, and it was really great, and I enjoyed it. So I thought, volume 2 hopefully will just be as good. But unfortunately, I don't even know what it's about. I'm reading it, and I'm going, who are these people? It's so confusing for me. And I thought that I should finish it, but it's a massive task. Look at it. It's just a chunky bloody novel. And if you don't finish it, who's going to know? Me. I'll know. So it's okay to stop. Now you've got to consider the reasons. Let's go. Consider the reasons why you should, stop reading a book. If it's for leisure reading, perfectly okay. If you've picked up a book and you're just reading for fun, for pleasure, at the end of the day, if you're on a long weekend and you can't find any other books, try and stick with it. But if you've bought a book or got a gift of a book and you're just not enjoying it, just put it down. There's no guilt reader from me. Just because you start a book doesn't mean you have to finish it. Even though you cannot say, I've read that book. If you're in discussions with your friends or, you're at a book club or whatever, just be honest and say, look, I tried to read it. I got through the first 100 pages and it just didn't make my intellectual cup of tea. So that's okay. And again, like I said, I've read books and then 20 years later, I read them again and I find out, I really enjoy because it's a different period of history, different period of intellectual stimulation, intellectual growth, and you might find yourself picking up a book you finished 5 years ago and going, this is brilliant. And that does happen. Believe me, it does happen. Also, your gut feeling is when you're sitting down, you're reading it, you've made the choice to read a book, you sit down and paging through it, and you're just not getting into it. You just don't find anything in it that is capturing your mind. Your mind is wandering. You're thinking about doing the laundry or going shopping. You don't understand the movement of the book, and it becomes all too much. Again, just put it down. There are thousands upon thousands of books out there, and it's okay if you just want to pass this one by for the time being. And even sometimes I have personally bought books, try to read them, and I've just actually thrown them out, or I've put them in the garden library. Maybe someone else will pick it up. So it's okay. When do you give up reading a book? There's a librarian, the Alexandra Saiter, this is a quote that I found, the engagement librarian at Harvard Kennedy School, urges readers to follow their gut. If you feel like you're not being fulfilled or not being engaged, it's not how you want to spend your time. I give you full professional permission to put the book down. There you go. And that's come from a librarian who's surrounded by books every single day of their lives and know when a book should be put down. So it's okay to stop reading a book you don't like. Yes, because you're not being forced to do it, even at university and high school. I mean, most of the books at high school are forced upon the students, and I always try and, like my kids, I always try and encourage them to, even if I know a book is difficult to read, like my son just had a book given to him for his final year of high school, and I said, no, that's really enjoyable, it's a great book. I just made that up because at the end of the day, I wanted to impress upon him that there could be some enjoyment for him if he got through it, and I wanted to get through it because he needed to read it before his exams coming up. So in that sense, I didn't let him finish the book because I think there was an obligation for him as a student to finish the book. But as an adult, I would have said, nah, kick it into touch, mate. You don't need it. Don't read it. Put it away. Is it philosophically and intellectually okay to stop reading a book you don't like? Of course it is. There's no drama there. Just don't pretend that you have read the book. That's one of the things I'm not a big fan of. People who buy books, don't read them, and tell everyone that they read them. Not that that's a major first world problem, because at the end of the day, no one really cares. It's about what you think, how you feel, and how you are passing your reading time. If it's not quality for you, don't read it. Put it away, guilt-free. Okay, when should you abandon a book? Like, think about it. What point do you do it? 20 pages, 30 pages, 50 pages? I guess that at 50 pages, if it hasn't caught you, maybe it's time to give it away. And that's okay. Okay. Again, there's plenty of books out there for you to read, so just put it down. One of the questions is, why do readers abandon books? God, there's just countless reasons, many, many different reasons why you won't be. I mean, if you pick up a book and it's just an experimental literature is the toughest one to finish. Depending on your reading focus, why do you read? Do you read because you enjoy reading wholeheartedly, or do you enjoy reading blockbusters that come out and are specifically published for a mass audience? Generally, those books are easier to read because they are written to the lowest common denominator of entertainment and fun. However, some books require a lot of dense thought, a lot of time constraints, meaning that you're going to have to give up, 5 nights in a row if you want to get through a book that is far more intellectually stimulating than any other book. It hasn't been written for pure entertainment. It might be written for knowledge, for entertainment, and also for a reading discipline. So there's no real... none of these are laws. These are all social contract laws that we put on ourselves. I want to read this, and I should start it, and I should finish it. And I guess it's how you feel sitting down, picking up the book. Do you look at it and go, oh, I've got to get through this? Look, I've done that. I've read many, many books where I just couldn't wait to put the thing away, and I didn't, and I charged through it, and I stuck with it merely because of my own personal reading discipline, where I thought, I've picked it up, I'm going to give it a go. And at the end of the book, when I turn the last page, I go, well, that wasn't worth it. I should have just kicked this into touch as well. But again, that's a personal decision. Okay, so if you hear some strategies to help you figure out if you want to keep reading a book. There's a 10% rule. If you read 10% of a book and you're not convinced on it, if it doesn't titillate your fantasies, your entertainment, your reading beauty, just drop it. And you can also do this over a 50-page thing. So 10% of a book may not necessarily be 50 pages. So in other words, you get through 50 pages and nothing is resonating with you, dump it, get rid of it, move on to the next book, because the next book could be the book that captures your imagination and your creative intellect and allows you to explore and enjoy a book so much more. Okay, you can also give, and these are just, these are not rules. They're rules, but they're not rules by law. You can give yourself 3 chances you say to a book, how am I going to let me give myself 3 chances to get through this book. How you can look at you can read the blurb, you can read a chapter, and also, if you don't like it, you can still consider, are these characters worthy of knowing? You can look up on Wikipedia. Stay away from the plot if you want to know what's going on, but you can look up at Wikipedia and online generally, and you can get a vibe of what type of book this may be. And again, if you sit down and you get like an empty feeling in your stomach, you get that mind wandering over, whatever, I've got to feed the cat, I've got to feed the dog. This is not, reading page after page. You read a whole page and then you turn it back and go, because you don't know what happened. It's your mind telling you that you're not engaged. And that may just be due to your own personal life issues. And then put it down. Don't attack it. Put it away or give it away. It's no problem. So, if you're going to feel like when you're reading a book, it's about entertainment and fulfillment. It's like a feeling that like there's no actual, this is how you are fulfilled by a book. This is how you're entertained by a book. It's up to you as a person. If you're reading a book and you just don't feel that your time, your intellect has been fulfilled, and that it's difficult, you don't enjoy, you don't want to know what happens after, just again, it's a matter of personal choice. All I'm saying to you in this episode is it's okay to stop reading books. Even books that perhaps 20 of your friends have read, which is probably not true because no one knows 20 readers. But if it just in the fantasy world where people read books, you can ask other people, did you get through this book? Did you find this book? How did you find this book? Were you entertained this book? Give me the truth. I want to know, because I'm having a lot of trouble getting through this book. So at the end of the day, it's your choice. And I think that other people can help you make that decision, because you might come across someone who goes, yeah, you know what? I tried to read 20 pages of that book. I just couldn't stand it. It was just terrible. What was that? I remember a huge book came out, 15 years ago. I can't remember the date, called 50 Shades of Grey. Everyone was going on about blah, 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 this great sex book, blah, blah. I decided to read it, and I couldn't. I just literally couldn't get through the first 20 pages. So I asked around. I got a few people saying, "Oh, it's a brilliant book. It's just really good. Stick with it." So I tried. No, I gave it away, and that was one of the books that I put in the bin. I just thought, I'm never going to read this, because there's just nothing there for me to interact, to fulfill me, to give me intellectual stimulation. My creative juices were sucked dry from reading 5 pages of that book. That's a personal choice. Now, the book sold about 50 billion copies around the world, so obviously that person, that writer, knew what they were doing. Okay, should you finish a book that you don't enjoy? Should you finish a book you don't enjoy? Well, life would tell you, no, put it away. But again, if you're a student and you're required by your course to finish your book, you're going to have to. You're going to have to set it out, stick it out, because you're going to need to know. You're going to need to know what happened in the book. If you're someone who is very disciplined, it might be a good sort of lesson in getting through something that you find difficult and challenging. And at the end of the day, because of course I finished books that I didn't want to read. I have done that. I have sat through and been tortured by the narrative and tortured by what's going on. But it's less so than the other opposite. So really, at the end of the day, if you are finishing a book you don't enjoy, but you still have the discipline, the reading discipline to keep at it, well, then keep going and finish the book. And it's a good lesson for yourself, because this book will always stick with you because of how poorly it was read to you as a reader. So that's all gain. Okay. At the end of the day, if you're not enjoying a book, you can say to yourself, all right, I'm not enjoying this book. I don't know why, because maybe the previous book this author wrote that you loved, or maybe because it's been recommended by 500 people and you want to read it. you actually do want to read it, but you're not enjoying it, and you don't understand why you are not engaging with it when all your friends have been telling you, oh, this is a fantastic, wonderful book. Don't forget, a lot of people lie about how much they enjoy. It's like art films, oh, it's a wonderful film. And you sit there and you're bored shitless for 2 hours. But at the end of the day, sometimes people promote books that they really either haven't read, don't enjoy reading, but for some cultural reason, it's kind of like, yeah, we all read this book and we should all enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, there's something wrong with you. So fuck that. If you don't enjoy the book and it's really like pulling teeth or getting your nails extracted with pliers, don't read it. Give it away and be honest to other people. Say, I just didn't get it. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't engage with it. I didn't see what you thought. What did you think about the book? Find out what they thought about the book. And you'll be surprised by the amount of people say, you know what, I didn't actually finish it. I just said that because, my mother-in-law said it's a book that I should read and blah, 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 whatever. You know where I'm getting at, the political reasons people sometimes pretend to finish books. I mean, one of the most unread books in history, and I don't mean to bring this down to Hitler again, but one of the most unread books in history is Mein Kampf. I mean, if you look through history about people who talk about Mein Kampf, no one could read it. It was just so dry and boring and bloody terrible. So basically everyone talked, yeah, I've read the Führer's book, yeah, very good. And at the end of the day, no one read the book, even fucking major Nazis couldn't stand the book. It was so boring. But at the end of the day, the book was so marketed that it almost get the feeling that everyone in the world has to read this book. No. And I can think of a few other titles that have been out there, placed and thrust upon us in the zeitgeist about, oh, you should read this book. It's culturally important. Bullshit. There's no. Okay, so sometimes you force yourself to read books and finish books. And why do we do that? We do it for various reasons. Again, students are forced to read books, and it is not the best way to inculcate literature in young minds. But at the end of the day, it is important that students who get set readings, really should read the work, because it does obviously go towards their degrees. It does give them a universal, meaningful understanding of literature and reading. So if you're a student, stiff shit, read the bloody book, because that's your task, that's your duty. In other cases where you're sitting down and someone's recommended a book, or you found a book at a bookshop, you kind of have to come up against this idea that as human beings, we're conditioned not to quit, not to fail, to be successful in everything we do. And even like it's successful to finish a book in your self-feeling. Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. You might pick up a book and go, this book is terrible, but I have to finish it because I'm a disciplined individual and I want to know what's going on and I've got to get through this book. And again, it comes down to you and how you choose to see the world. And there's nothing better than picking up a popular book that everyone loves and everyone is telling you how great it is, and to turn around and say, look, I just didn't enjoy this book. I thought this book was crap. I thought the characters were terrible. I thought the story was convoluted and complex, and I didn't understand a word they were saying. Don't worry. Be honest with your intellectual, creative juices. Don't let anyone tell you what you should read and when you should finish. Okay, so quitting is just like quitting smoking, quitting drinking, quitting anything that is seen as positive. You can quit smoking, quit drinking. Don't quit reading books. Now, you should be able to quit reading books because some books are as poisonous as smokes or booze. At the end of the day, you must make the decision for yourself. If you're sitting down, you enjoy reading, and you find yourself, I just don't really want to do this. Don't do it. What do you do with that book? Well, I would always suggest, other than the ones I put in the bin, take it to your garden libraries, your free libraries that are probably dotted around your suburbs or wherever you live in the world, and just give some other poor sucker the responsibility of finishing that book. So don't worry about it. If you pick up a book, you're reading it, there's nothing in it for you, just put it away without guilt. Just no more, and move on to another book. It happens all the time. There are thousands and thousands and thousands and trillions of stories out there. Give yourself a break. Don't worry about not finishing a book. It's okay. If you have to finish a book for your own personal reasons, just get through it. Stick it. Put yourself a schedule, right? Put bad book reading schedule. must read 1 hour every day or half hour every day in order to finish it. Because if it's important for you to go through and be a disciplined reader, I understand that because I've done that myself. But as the older I've become less and less personally responsible for my desires to finish books. If I don't like a book, I do give it I personally probably give myself a much more wider boundary of whether or not to toss a book or not. But I've still done it, and I've read thousands of books. So at the end of the day, I just feel that my time is being abused and wasted by something that is not engaging me. I'm not fulfilled. It's a feeling, you know that feeling. When you're reading that book, you know how you feel about that book. Don't worry about it. If you're in a book club and you're part of a club who's reading a particular book, go to the book club and say, I couldn't finish it. You tell them why. That's part of the book club. The part of the book club is saying, I couldn't finish this book because I just didn't engage in it. I wasn't fulfilled. It did nothing for me. Let the other book club members understand a book they chose that you personally didn't find it. That at the end of the day, that's the good thing about a book club, is that hopefully some of the other members who may be sitting there quietly going, I didn't finish this either, I watched the video or whatever they did, because it's better to be honest and intellectually honest and tell your club members, no, this is whoever chose this book, you've chosen poorly for me, and at the end of the day, let's move on to the next book, because there's books just being pumped out every second of the day around the world. So that's it for chucking a book you don't want to read. If you don't like it, get rid of it. If it doesn't fulfill you, get rid of it. If it's not entertaining, get rid of it. If it's part of a course, a uni course or a high school course, finish it. That's your job. You've got to finish it. End of story, okay? You've got to know what's going on. But in your daily life, picking up a book that you spent $30 on, finding out that there's nothing in it for you, I know you just have to accept it and put it away. So I think that if you're an adult and you don't want to read a book, you don't want to finish a book, give it an extra day. If it still doesn't come into fruition, then just simply put it away. Move on to another book, okay? All right, thanks. That's my episode for today. I just finished reading this book called The Object by Joshua T. Calvert. Apparently it says here hard science fiction. I don't know. I mean, the reviews again, brilliant book. I mean, I did read this one. I finished it. But I just found that it didn't really resonate as hard science fiction. It was, I don't know, it's similar to... what's that bloke's name? Andy Weir, who wrote the Mars or the Mission or whatever. Wrote books about some guy trapped on Mars and he's written another one called Hail Mary, and I think they've all been made into films, but very like a staged. This happens, then this happens, then this happens. But this one is about the first contact. Kind of. I don't know, everything up to that was pretty lame. It was pretty standard. There's no real science fiction in it. I don't know, hard science fiction, more like hard, I don't know, sort of banal fiction. I mean, it wasn't that interesting at the end of the day. And I was reading it, and I actually waited because I needed to see the resolution. What did this writer come up with as in the object? What the hell was the fucking object? It was interesting, a nice take on universal biology and what's out there in the universe, but not very inspiring. Anyway, that's it for me this week, and hopefully you'll be available to watch my next episode. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you in the libraries, all the bookshops, all the secondhand bookshops. Bye.